If you get set up for a wrestling push, you need to walk very carefully. Being put in this position is so precarious that even the simplest of errors can stop it dead in its tracks. You can upset the wrong person or say the wrong thing and kapow! That's it. It's back to the mid-card for you. And getting back out of there can be near impossible. This is why it's even worse when the reason your push stops dead is because you did something a bit silly. All you had to do was stay away from said silliness, you'd be flying high. But you just had to go and be super silly. I'm Simon from What Culture. This is 10 wrestlers who killed their own push. Number 10, R-Truth. Truth went from jerking the curtain to headlining the Capital Punishment pay-per-view, going through a heel turn in between to try and justify all of this. Turning into a bit of a nut job, he failed in his quest for Cena's WWE Championship, but this did then lead to the awesome Truth tag team and another top spot against The Rock and Cena at Survivor Series. But then it all went bad. Almost right afterwards, the WWE announced that Truth had violated the wellness policy, and then he was suspended for 30 days, and that was that for the man. And you could only wonder what may have happened if he had decided not to do all that. Number 9, Mabel. When WWE decided to push Mabel in 1995, well, it was a mistake. Shawn Michaels' face turn had left a big gap on the bad guy side of things, and no one was bigger than the Men on a Mission star, so I guess logic stated he would fit in there very nicely. Starting at that year's King of the Ring, which he won to the shock of everybody, the push only lasted a few months. No one really knew exactly why this was, but a number of peers have said it was because of his wrestling style. Kevin Nash especially was critical of him, saying he was liable to injure his opponents, which was kinda fair given Mabel had shattered The Undertaker's orbital bone after a leg drop. Not that this changed much. The crowd never took to him, so it wasn't going to be a long-term thing. And his WWE Championship match with Diesel at SummerSlam is considered an abomination. Still though, if he wasn't butchering other wrestlers, maybe this would have lasted a little bit longer. Number 8, Chris Masters. The Masterpiece seemed destined for huge things in the WWE. He had a look Vince McMahon loved, and he was so young, he had years ahead of him to hone his craft and hopefully get over with the fans. This started well enough too. The Master Lock became the submission move of the time, and he was getting involved with the likes of John Cena, Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle. And then it all went bad. Facing a painkiller addiction that could have derailed him entirely, Masters wisely opted to head to rehab to try and sort himself out. No one could fault that. But when he returned to the promotion, he was never seen in the same light. Firstly, his Fable's hold was broken by John Cena. Then he started to slide down the card faster than Andre the Giant's 1988 title reign. He was eventually let go in 2007 for even more violations of the company's policies, and that was that. Who knows what may have been. Number 7, Rusev and Lana. Before we start, remember that Rusev and Lana are amazing and they deserve all the success in the world. As well as on-screen lovers, the pair were also together behind the scenes, which meant WWE was a bit upset that their real-life engagement was revealed through Twitter when the two were feuding on TV. Why this particular instance was considered such a faux pas when everyone was doing it, I don't know. But Rusev's push disappeared and Lana got shamed by The Rock on Raw. Number 6, Evan Bourne. There was a time where, although never seen as a proper superstar, Evan Bourne had a decent position for himself. Amazing to watch and a big fan favourite, he found a level of consistency few do, eventually leading to a 2011 Tag Team Championship run with Kofi Kingston. It was all going smoothly too, until Evan was suspended for violating the wellness policy. Just to make matters worse, he screwed up again after he had returned when in January 2012, got busted again. And then he broke his foot while he was out, and that was the last of him on WWE TV. He sat out the rest of his contract after a fleeting return in March 2013 at a live event, but then he was let go, you'd imagine because of all the above. Number 5, Triple H. In 1996, kayfabe wasn't exactly dead. In fact, a lot of people still respected it and believed even with an ever-evolving business, it needed to be protected from an on-screen perspective. The Clique didn't necessarily agree with that. Getting involved in the now infamous curtain call at Madison Square Garden where Triple H, HBK, Nash and Hall all hugged in front of the fans, despite them supposed to be feuding with each other, someone had to be punished. Michael was protected as he was the champ and Hall and Nash were off to WCW. That only left one person, Triple H. Being demoted from potential King of the Ring winner and champion to bona fide jobber, he was kicked back to the bottom of the card to send a message to the locker room. It would be 5 months before he got back to where he was meant to be, and strangely, maybe this actually helped him going forward. Didn't exactly do too badly for himself when all was said and done. Number 4, Mr. Kennedy. There was a time where Mr. Kennedy was going to be the next big thing in WWE. Getting himself over with a big personality, gimmick and ring entrance had set him up nicely in 2007, and plans were in place for a reveal as Vince McMahon's son and a championship match at WrestleMania 24 with Triple H. And that's alright. But then it all vanished. Failing a wellness policy test, Kennedy's push was scrapped, and when he returned he could never get back to where he was. Then he hurt Randy Orton and John Cena, and the writing was on the wall. He'd made enemies out of the wrong people, and the sword of Damocles was hanging over his head. Eventually it fell, and he was let go from the company, all because of his own mistakes. Number 3, William Regal. If wrestling was fair, William Regal would be the greatest talent of all time. A wonderful talker and fantastic technician, Regal had it all and could have been a star for years. As well as the always cutthroat wrestling business, a string of personal issues also stopped things from being what they could have been. The biggest missed opportunity came in 2008 when Regal was the Raw GM. Having won that year's King of the Ring and sitting pretty as a top heel, there was even word he may be given a world title run. Unfortunately, all that changed when he was suspended for 60 days following a second wellness violation. On his return, he was back to the mid-card, and everyone, including me, was pretty damn sad about it. Number 2, Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger was able to make it to the top of the tree as World Heavyweight Champion, but that run wasn't so great. That's why when he was teamed with Zeb Coulter in 2013, it felt like the start of something big, or at least bigger than where he had been in recent memory. Their political gimmick did gain plenty of attention, and the spotlight was on Swagger once more. So much so, he was thrown back into the world title picture against Alberto Del Rio. Just 2 days after being named number 1 contender though, Jack was arrested for a DUI and possession of marijuana. Whoops. This led to him losing the aforementioned match in just 10 minutes and a slow slip back down the card until he was but a ghost again. He remained under contract until early 2017 when he was released. This downward trend all began with one silly mistake. Number 1, Rob Van Dam. Everyone loved Rob Van Dam. ECW fans, WWE fans, WCW fans, indie fans. The man was just beloved no matter what federation you watched or even if he turned up in it. He just had that magic. When it came to the WWE though, there was no way the face of ECW could ever win the big one. That was ludicrous thinking, despite the fact it wasn't. Finding true main event success in 2006 at the ECW One Night Stand pay-per-view, RVD actually bested John Cena for the world title in a move that shocked the world and delighted everyone in the arena that night. It was surely the start of his rise, but you would have been wrong again. On July 2nd, RVD was arrested for drug possession, which is just about the worst thing he could have done. He then lost the title to Edge within days and got suspended for a month. And by 2007, he'd left the WWE. Oh, Rob.
One of the only professional wrestling podcasts that's actually worth it.
If we can make one of the best wrestlers in the world say that just by listening to our podcast, what happens when we do this? Judgment Day.
Yeah. Yahoo! Mountain Dew!
Why don't you get some sleep and wake up?
Because he's a terrible person who resigned in disgrace. Is it door? Or is the answer no door? Yeah!
What up, turds? None of you these things.
It's either door or no door. What is it? Door, no door, or is it door?
What did you make of the night? That's another satisfied customer.